Hello and welcome to the trade setup. In this video we are looking at Ondas. It is time for another update and we finally see some action on this chart, but still it hasn't managed to reach the levels of support we were tracking for continuation to higher prices. Not only that, but the continuation to higher prices would have been part of an extension within our current structures, as I am quite easily able to consider this move to the upside complete, even within the idea of a wave C. Now, of course, this doesn't mean that we couldn't be extending higher, but I am cautious, I am skeptical of this overall development. I am watching out for a possible wave B to be currently in formation, where we would realistically only be building a larger correction in something like an A, B, C structure, where within the wave B we could even go to new highs, but it doesn't have to mark the beginning of continuation in this overall trend. So we have an opportunity today, and it's rather within the smaller time frame, because in such a space we can look for an opportunity regardless of the larger structure, regardless of whether this move up would only be a wave B. Because while I can come up with structures and counts that would allow even further extensions, yeah, I could count this overall potentially as an impulse, even though I do not really like that interpretation. I could have something like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, in which case, within this as a wave 5, we could be going directly higher, really. So I would be able to look for a count that would accommodate this as a wave 5. I would be able to look for something like a 5V move to the upside internally. And then this would have to be an ending diagonal within which we would expect to build 3 waves within this as a wave 3. And this is actually where the interesting portion of this structure resides, because within this wave 3, I know that I'm looking to only build an A, B, C pattern. This is made quite apparent by the fact that within the wave 1 we only have 3 waves up, and in such a case, I could be looking to trade this wave to the upside, even if it is just the white scenario still, even if this is part of a wave B, because I'm only looking at this internal structure that could be interesting. And it is true that this trade is within such a small time frame that for many it might not even be interesting, and rightfully so, because those type of structures, those type of trades that we are taking within the smaller time frame aren't going to provide the same reliability, the same edge we have within larger structures. Nonetheless, I have here a potential impulse within the wave C, and this is actually the interesting part, because I know that as long as I hold here the $11.9 level, I can look for one additional high within this as a wave 5. It doesn't have to be a large move, because if I am looking for this wave 4 to reach, let's say, the previous swing lows, right? The internal correction here, around the $12.6. Internally, I would be looking to risk maybe 6%, 7%, something like that. And if this is a strong wave 5, it could provide significant gains. We could be looking at maybe 18%, maybe 20%. It could very easily reach those levels within such a wave 5, especially given that this would be still within an internal wave 3. But we have to understand that this is within a very fragile structure, within a very small time frame. If we are going to fail holding the levels of support for the wave 4, it might still succeed in forming higher prices, but it wouldn't be within a reliable trade setup. Right? If we cannot hold the levels of support for a supposed wave 4 within this structure, we could be looking for a different path forward, for a different path to higher prices, but it's not a path that I would trust. So only within this structure do I find an edge worthy of a potential trade setup, and even this one is not the best. We are looking maybe at a 1-to-3 risk-reward ratio, and this is not to say that something more bullish couldn't be going on. I simply do not have a lot of trust for it to be happening in the case of this chart. We have many significantly more interesting opportunities in the market. Now, here's the thing. We could be looking, even in the case of this chart, for significantly more, even within this trade setup, but only if we get a confirmation that the bottom would be in, right? If we get something like a 3-wave move to the downside, and let's say we build an A, B, C pattern within this wave 4, and within the wave C we build a clear 5-wave move down. It could take us closer to invalidation. That already would make it a lot more interesting. But if we actually get the first bounce and we have a very clearly defined 3-wave move down, we could be looking maybe to buy into the reversal with a closer stop loss. Let's say we reach still the $12.6 level. We could be looking to reverse maybe into the $13 level, and then we would only have to risk from $13 to $12.6. Well, that would only be about 3%. If this is a decently sized wave 5, which could very well be, we could be looking to gain significantly more, maybe 15%, and this would already improve our risk-reward ratio. So what I'm hinting at is that unless we manage to reach deep levels of support within this as a wave 4, it might be best to wait for the confirmation to get a better deal. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to try to time the bottom here, but it's not always so easy. You might end up risking a lot more than you realize at the time. It could be a falling knife. It could slash right through those levels of support and take you lower and lower. And if you were to try to time such a bottom, you might not even be prepared to take a loss. And I'm sure plenty of people will get caught in such situations. Now, one more thing before we end the video. I am looking to build a 5-wave pattern within this as a wave C, but I wouldn't obsess over the count for this wave C, especially given the time frame. If it builds this entire pattern, we would have a quite clearly complete count. We could be looking with more confidence for a bottom, but if it doesn't, if it only builds 3 waves down, it doesn't mean a bottom couldn't be in. Then one more thing. The ideal target for the wave 3 is the 138.2% extension of the wave 1. That sits at $12.8. So if we actually bottom in this region within the wave 3, we get then a wave 4. Within the wave 5, we could actually get very well into this structural support region where we have formed these previous lows before we bounce into the next wave to the upside. And for now, we will stop here. These are the levels. This is the trade setup. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe. And if you enjoyed the content and want to support it directly, check out the channel membership. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye.